Give it up for Olivia. Oh man.
That was my walk-on dance with no walk-on music because it's in my head, but that was also dedicated to my daughter. I live for embarrassing my kids. Do not turn around, don't look in the back. She's back there, don't look. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so honored to be here bright and early. Thank you for coming. Hopefully you all had some coffee and some sugar to get you going. Thank you so much for not running to the bathroom all at once. We can go after together, but stay here, and I'm gonna go through my presentation pretty quickly. Excited about this theme. I normally talk about branding and brand positioning and all things marketing. I'm so in love with branding, but this is an exciting shift on some of those things that I talk about. So, we're gonna go right into it. This is thanks to AI. How many are just like in love and in terror of AI right now? Incredible, incredible things. So we're talking about Reverie, and what was so interesting is when I first got the call and spoke with Dave about Reverie, the theme, I thought they said Reverie. So Reverie, I'm gonna get into the definitions. I know that Dave already kind of told you about the theme, but really, when we think about Reverie, we think about daydreaming. And so I'm here to tell you that it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D, all up in the limousine. Thank you for laughing. I was like, I don't know. I was like, it might be a little too early for a little biggie, but I'm glad. Thank you for getting that little joke, and we're gonna move on now. All right. So it's a state of being lost in one's thoughts and in a daydream. When we think about daydreaming, we're thinking about pleasant thoughts that distracts one's attention from the present. If some of you have been at work and you just zone out for a minute, hopefully you're thinking about pleasant thoughts that distract you in the moment. Now, revelry is what I thought Dave said initially. And so I was like, all right, lively and noisy festivities, especially when these involved drinking a large amount of alcohol. I was like, how am I gonna talk about that? And luckily we clarified what this was gonna be. Now, some of you may be day drinking later today, which is kind of combining the two. So, go for that, it's all good, it's Friday, right? So let's go back to me as a kid. This is little Olivia. Now, I had the very first, don't look too closely, but the very first wardrobe malfunction, not Janet Jackson. That was me. But when I think about being a little kid, thinking about what did I daydream about? What did I want to be when I grew up? Who did I want to be? And I daydreamed about a lot of different things, which kind of led to my path here and led to this notion of being creative and really being authentic to who you are. But I will say this, that it started here. This is back in first grade. So we were 6. And I was born in upstate New York, in Rochester, which is just outside of Buffalo. And whoop, whoop. Yeah? Whoop, whoop. And moved here when I was, after this picture, we were gone. I went to a predominantly white school, which isn't abnormal. But if you look at this picture, being the only person of color in my class, and I'm sure it wasn't in the whole school, but in my class, I daydreamed about having long flowing hair. Hair is a big deal. I'm still getting therapy on it. Like long flowing, like just hair. I was like, Mom, I don't want braids. I want to let it out. And she was just like, no, you don't want to let that out. But thinking about wanting to belong, I wanted to belong. I wanted to be able to sit with these 2 girls and feel like we had something in common. That was what I daydreamed about. And I don't remember what I ate yesterday, but I remember that this kid up here flashed all of us on the bus. And then this kid right here made fun of my skin color. That's what I remember at 6 years old. But that desire to belong, that's what I daydreamed about. I also daydreamed about being a fashion designer. So right after I took that picture, we moved to Denver, and then I decided I'm gonna be a fashion designer. And so then I started to draw these sketches. I'm like, okay. And I had the audacity as a 6, 7, 8-year-old to think that Mattel would partner with me. 6, 7-year-old Olivia. So I used to get these Barbie magazines, and they cost $1.25. So I had my little subscription, and on the back of the Barbie magazine, it had a P.O. box for fan mail. So I would draw these sketches, and there's a year on here. I want to say it's like 87, 88, 1988. I would draw these sketches, sign my name, put them in an envelope, and send them to Mattel. Like every other week, more ideas, more ideas. I am still waiting on my check from Mattel. If you're listening, Mattel, Barbie, you know. But I would send these off and thinking one day I can be this cool, creative person. But I want you to remember the audacity piece that I thought as an 8-year-old this huge company would partner with me. Remember that for later. So I'm going to play this video, and I want you to think about what you wanted to be when you grew up, when you grow up. I'm not saying we're all grown-ups here, who knows, but what you wanted to be as a kid and what you want to be when you grow up. Please play, please play, please play. Oh, no? Volume, volume, volume.
That's good.
Is it good?
Hello, my name is Gwyneth, and I'll be your professor today. And I will be talking about the brain. Hello, I'm your veterinarian today. I'm Dr. Brooklyn. See? Here, let me see. Good morning, everyone. I'm your new coach. My name is Maddie. Nice to meet you. I had the most fantastic day in the office. You'll never believe what happened. We got that new business owner. Have you ever seen him fly?
Have you seen what?
Fly?
No.
I'm Captain Fly.
Okay.
Dog's brain can't think as much as a human's brain because there's no high school for the dog. This is Peter, the Triceratops. Peter is 1 year old. The T-Rex, Sally, is 1,200,252 years old. Up like a unicorn. Higher. I've been to New York, Transylvania, Pennsylvania, and do lots of stuff with our brain. Now, does anybody know how big the brain is? Anybody? Sophia. It is very good.
You could be anything. I've seen this commercial probably 10 times, and every time I get teary-eyed. Every single time. Because I think about being a kid playing with my Barbies and having this idea that I can be anything. But then we lose that over time. We become experienced. We live a little. We become jaded. We become tired, fatigued. And so we start to lose that piece of that daydream and that piece of, I can really be anything. Now I want to tell you real quickly that Barbie, she is a big, bad ass bitch. She is. This woman has had, now I know it's fictional, but let's pretend for a moment. And hopefully this doesn't play again. She has had 42 careers in her lifetime. And how many of us get ashamed and a little embarrassed when we jump careers like 2 or 3 times in our lifetime? I have. She's done everything. She's like, all right, I'm gonna run for president, and then tomorrow I'm gonna be an astronaut, and then I'm gonna be a school teacher and a veterinarian, and who cares? Who cares? I love that notion of, and if I could work for any brand, I'm not leaving my job anytime soon, but if I could work for any brand, it would be Barbie because of the values and that reverie that it instills into our kids. It's incredible. I do want to say this when we think about careers, we think about our education. How do we get from point A to B in our careers? Last year, 2022, the Colorado Talent Pipeline report found that 91.4% of jobs in Colorado that pay a family living wage. A family living wage is literally that two people can raise two kids in a house and have food and insurance, those basic needs. So a job that pays enough to have those basic needs, 91% of those jobs require education beyond high school. That's huge. And this is what blew me away. Job postings in 2022, after COVID, that require a bachelor's degree increased by 22%. That shocked me. I figured in this gig economy, in the way that our society has transpired, the flexibility, the freedoms that we have to be creative, to be our own boss, to do the things we want to do, I just didn't expect that to jump. Only 37.9, 40% of Black and 25% of Latino adults hold a credential, compared to 60% of white adults. So this goes back to the work that I do at Denver Scholarship Foundation. 90% of our students are students of color, over 80% are first-generation college students that we help in Denver to get to that place where they can have a credential, a certificate, a 2-year associate, a bachelor's, etc., so that they can have a minimum, a living wage to have a roof and to have insurance. So when I think about then this daydream, these kids, you as children who had the audacity to think that we could be anything, and understanding what it really takes to get there. This is Olivia at 20, 21 maybe, graduating from college, still with the thought of the audacity of I can really do anything and can I be anything? But I know that, again, for our scholars and our students, that having a degree gives me some freedom and some choice in life. I don't have to use that degree. How many of you have a degree that you just did not use at all? It's okay. Your parents are proud. Still. But I know that that opened up doors of freedom and choice for me. But I also know that, and it's a lot of our scholars and students, that this freedom and choice allowed the reverie to actually turn into reality, to take those steps, to go from here to there. We're gonna do a really quick exercise. We're gonna daydream. So what I need everyone to do is to close your eyes. Don't look at me. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. Let it out really loud. Make your neighbor awkward. We're gonna take a moment to daydream, pulling on the creativity and audacity that we had as kids to think anything is truly possible. Imagine you're sitting at your dining room table with your favorite breakfast in front of you. Maybe you are one of those lucky families who was allowed to eat cold cereal in the morning. Look at that beautiful sugar. Lucky Charms, Count Chocula. Or you were like me, whose family didn't believe in cold cereal, and you had to have oatmeal. It's thick and lumpy, just like you remember it. As you reach out for the spoon, you notice the youth in your hands. You've been time traveled. Someone talked about daydreaming about time travel. Back to your younger self. Your hands are smaller, not as worn and worked as your hands are today. They are ready to draw, paint, create, build, maybe even tear down. And it's Saturday, which means Saturday cartoons. In the other room, you hear the theme song to your favorite childhood cartoon, Care Bears, Transformers, Thundercats. Or maybe, life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, airplanes, it's a Doppler. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history, DuckTales. Ooh. As breakfast and your morning cartoons wrap up, you're beaming with excitement and joy and anticipation because it's me time. Imagine that. Me time as a kid. It was always me time. You run to your room, go into your closet, and pull out a big brown box. You open the top of that box, You feel seen, important, brilliant, creative, and alive. What is in your box? All right, open your eyes. I want you to think about what was in there. That might have been hard for people. Other people are like, I know what was in there. For me, it was my Easy Bake Oven. I wanted that darn Easy Bake Oven for so long, so many Christmas lists, I finally got it, and it's run by a light bulb. What? And it took like 2 hours to bake a cupcake. But I loved that thing, and it made me feel so adult and grown, and it made me feel creative and special. I want us to start thinking about, how do we start to feel that again? How do we pull on that from our past and bring that into today? I'm about done. Here are a couple things that I want us to think about to bring some of the reverie into our everyday lives. The first one is literally schedule the time for it. I know that sounds really boring, and how are we supposed to daydream on a timeline? But y'all do it for sex sometimes. Don't say you don't schedule sex. Why can't we do it for daydreaming? If we don't schedule it, it's not necessarily gonna happen. Be mindless in your daydreaming. When's the last time you laid out on the grass and watched the clouds? It's been a while. Try that. Do it today. I roller skate, and I love roller skating because I can't think about a lot of other things while you roller skate. You will fall. So in being mindless, I can have these ideas and these triggers and these downloads that come that are super creative. We have a DSF scholar who told me the other day that she literally has one of those white shower notepads. Have you seen those? You stick it in the shower and you can draw and write. Because she's like, the best ideas come in the shower. Why not like write it down? Because the second you step out of the shower and dry off, poof, it's gone. Oh, thank you. Goodbye. Become a kid. Become a kid again. Pull on that self. Pull out old pictures and old photo albums. Some people, and I can even say this, some of my childhood wasn't the best of memories, but pull on those really good ones. Again, write it down. So that's the notes in the shower. Thank me later. And then keep it positive. Sometimes daydreaming, and this was interesting when I looked it up, can spiral down these negative paths. And that's when worry and anxiety start to set in. And I know that all of our minds can kind of go there, daydreaming and then wondering and worrying about the future and what's going to happen. So try to keep and steer your mind into those positive places. And then WWYYSD, what would your younger self do? Speaking about audacity, I literally wrote to Mattel as an 8-year-old. Fast forward many, many years when my babies were babies, I decided I'm gonna launch a children's clothing line. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I had the audacity, pulling on my younger self, to write a letter to Ellen DeGeneres and send a sample of my product to fan mail. Why not? It never worked at 8 years old, but it might work now. And it did. And I launched my children's clothing line on the Ellen Show. And the Ellen Show worked with me for 3 consecutive years to grow my business. Incredible. But if I didn't have that childlike audacity to ask for something, to step into a place that might not ever happen, who am I to like write Ellen? But it did, you just never know. And then create action. So we can daydream all day, but unless we step into doing something, creating something, asking for something, then our dreams don't turn into reality. And now, thank you.